As we've reported, we have a lot of excess mortality around at the moment. In England and Wales, it's been running at about 1,000 extra deaths every week, all spring and summer. There's a lot of SADS, sudden adult death syndrome. What are the symptoms of that? Well, the first symptom is that you're strolling around perfectly healthy. The second symptom is that you're dead. All very sudden. Wherever you live, just pick up your local paper from the weekend in the sports section. Take a look at this story. Jason Jenkins, the Dolphins Senior Vice President of Communications. That's the Miami Dolphins. It's American football, an unwatchable sport, but these guys don't deserve to die over it. But the Senior Vice President died suddenly in the hours before Miami's game Saturday against the Eagles, the team announced. He was 47. That was Saturday. Monday, in the movie news, actress and model Charlie Dean died suddenly at age 32, People magazine confirmed Tuesday. Her breakthrough movie, Triangle of Sadness, opens next month. It got an 8-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival and won the Palme d'Or, and everyone agreed it was going to make her a star. But no, she's dead. That was Monday. On Tuesday, well, we reported last week on a suddenly dead women's footballer in Belfast. Here is another in Kent. Tributes pour in for Aylesford Football Club player Danielle Cubitt after unexpected and sudden death. Also from the sports pages, captain of junior hockey team in Ayr, Ontario. That's a part of the world I know very well. Captain of junior hockey team, dead at age 19. Eli Palfreyman died during the game, 19 years old. The old Fleet Street rule was that it took 3 to make a trend. We have a lot more than 3 dead young sportsmen, but no reporters seem minded to investigate. We have official statistics from the Canadian province of Alberta saying that the leading cause of death in Alberta is now cause unknown. But instead of trying to pin down what all those unknown causes might actually be, there are lots of ludicrous internet fact checkers who say there is no hard proof this is anything to do with you-know-what. Kathy Gygnell is the founder and editor of The Conservative Woman, and you think, Kathy, that there are people out there who actually might have found some causation.
Yes, exactly. So everyone will argue that it's correlation or temporal association. That's the Medicine and Health Regulatory Authority favourite word, temporal causation. Well, yes, actually it is temporal, because in that time space they die.
Yes.
You know, come on. But we can't look at it because there's every other reason for it. And if we look at last year, there are just as many. And people constantly love to do the correlation argument, that correlation isn't causation. Well, there's a new German paper that's the most extraordinarily detailed paper, a statistical analysis of all the German death data. And I think they're probably rather better at this than we are, for whatever reason. And what's good about this paper, they've used every type of statistical method to look at the excess deaths data. There are various, if you're a statistician, you can choose various sort of type of models or approaches. On each one, it comes out the same. They have to explain this excess mortality in the younger age groups that cannot be explained by COVID deaths and cannot really be explained by that much else because it is so unusual and it relates to the months of maximum vaccination.
Right, and because it's happening in the young and middle-aged as well, it's not something that can be explained in the same way as they explain COVID. There was a Dutch study as well, which basically tracked the excess mortality according to when they'd introduced the vaccines and the booster shots in each of these various Dutch areas. You do get the sense, though, that there's a great institutional reluctance to do something like that in the UK.
Absolutely. They don't want to do, first of all, they've never wanted to do a risk benefit on the vaccines themselves. We've known for a long time now that the Pfizer data was was very sort of misinterpreted at the beginning. They weren't honest about it, and the actual efficacy of the vaccine's low, and more stuff's come out about the number of deaths were higher in the first rollout of the vaccines. We have our own data in this country that shows on yellow card reporting there already nearly 2,300. These are reports made by hospitals and doctors, vaccine-related deaths. We suddenly find we've got 6 adolescent deaths slipped into the MHRA tables. And this is where the German study is so interesting. It's the age groups. I mean, in this country, they don't even want to give us full age breakdown of death.
No.
I mean, they're really reluctant to give us any of the data that we need, and it is an institutional reluctance, and shockingly the mainstream media's gone along with it. So it's left to social websites like ours to try and get investigating on what's happening.
But there are, for example, it's not hard to find out, there are far more, well, you know, it depends how you define far more, but there are more dead teens than there should be.
Yes.
That's a terrible thing for any parent to, like the parents of that 19-year-old hockey player. Why, you get the feeling that even the individuals affected by this are being somehow anaesthetised into not rocking the boat.
Yes, it's absolutely, and Rishi Sunak rather gave it away in that interview he gave to Fraser Nelson. I mean, it's very appalling that we mustn't upset the narrative. The official number 10 line is that we've got to make this seem like this is all scientific, our policy. Make it appear scientific, his words were, I think. Well, it hasn't been scientific, because if it was scientific, once you began getting 10 times the number of vaccine injuries than any other previous vaccines put together, the alarm bells should have been ringing, and somebody should have been monitoring this. They haven't been. They say they are, but there's no evidence that they're doing it in any way systematically. But so last year we had all the athletes' deaths, and these carry on. Suddenly they're dropping dead. Everyone says, it's just complete coincidence. Well, this was ridiculous. Anyone looking at statistical tables of athletes' deaths going down over the years, sure, this was absolutely unexpected. I mean, it was far higher than before. Then you get the sudden deaths. What do they call it? Sudden adult death syndrome.
But it's I mean, we just did, I guess you would call them minor celebrities, but they're prominent actresses, promising young sportsmen. They're the sort of people, or even poor Lisa Shaw at the BBC. Why the BBC doesn't even care when it's their own colleagues?
No, they just want to push the vaccines, and especially on pregnant women. And as you raised, you know, despite the fact that the Pfizer safety data has been there saying there is no safety, there is no evidence. We cannot say that this is a safe vaccine for women who want to get pregnant or who are pregnant or are breastfeeding. Yet they still push it on the same people still push the vaccine. When will there be Operation Backtrack? We're beginning to see Operation Backtrack on lockdown. When will there be Operation Backtrack on vaccination? Round the world, there are excess deaths. It's not just this country. Round the world, there's declining fertility, and round the world, there are more stillbirths. There are more stillbirths in this country. That was shown in the German study. I mean, isn't this enough? Isn't this enough for a decent health minister?
We've got a new health minister. They don't last long, these guys. Why don't you make a difference instead of giving you £10 kettle rebates? Thank you very much, Kathy. I'd just like to have a little soupçon of conservatism from an alleged conservative government. This is a terrible thing, what we're doing here. Dead children, dead teenagers, dead people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. It's terrible. Thank you very much, Kathy. It's always great to see you, even in trying...